Good morning. Welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morse. Another Monday morning out here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's getting hot. I want to tell you guys why it's hot out there. Stay hydrated, drink lots of water. We're having some issues with some of our guys out there in the field. We're making sure we get water and ice out to them every day. So hopefully you guys enjoyed last week's podcast. I had the opportunity to have Justin from New Freedom on. That's where we started our vocational program. That's where everything here started. That's how this whole journey started with what we do with the podcast, with the vocational program, with hiring men and women out of prison, off the streets, out of rehabs. It's been an amazing journey. But one thing I want to talk about today, and please like and subscribe if you're enjoying us, if it helps us, please shoot some comments. Let me know what you think. If there's a topic you want to hear about, if there's something that means something to you that we've talked about and you want to discuss it more, please shoot us a message. We'll bring it up. But one thing I want to talk about today is I want to talk about getting, I don't know how to put this, maybe a little too relaxed in your job, a little too relaxed in your position, a little too comfortable, let's say. So what happens is, you've been working your job, you're there, you're moving up in position, or maybe you just get a little lackadaisy. You're going through the grind every day. You get comfortable. You feel like you can step back, take the foot off the gas pedal. You can't do that. You can't get so comfortable that you start going backwards. We've got a couple guys working for us right now. We're dealing with it right now. I know tomorrow we're going to have a meeting in the office with our superintendents, our project managers. We're going to go over some stuff because every so often I feel like we start to backslide. And when that happens, what I'm seeing is that there's different issues out there to the point to where, okay, at 9:00, a couple days ago, we made 3 trips to a job site to take stuff out there. We've been out there for 3.5 hours, and 3 trips in 3.5 hours because these guys don't know what they need, what they want on a job. Within the first 30 minutes, you should know everything that you need for that day and what you need on a job. Yes, there's going to be things that change, but to take paint out first and then take gas out next for the machine and then take out a drill and a paddle to mix the 2-part epoxy on the job site. These are the issues I'm talking about. You've got to know what you need at the beginning. You got to know what you need to get through the day. We really struggle as a company getting our guys on the crews to order their paint for the next day in time before the end of the day. So we start so early in the morning that most of our jobs, we're done by 1:30, 2:30 in the afternoon. So by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we're expecting the paint orders for the next day. That way we can get to the paint store, we can order it, we can have it sitting here at the shop ready to go the next morning because we start before the paint stores open. So we need to get out there. We need to get the products out there so our guys can be efficient on the job site. So that is becoming an issue. And I think communication's a problem out there. I believe one of the issues I'm seeing right now within the company is the relaxation. And I guess what I'm trying to say in that sense is what we're seeing is people are becoming comfortable. They're starting to look at TikTok while they're working. They're starting to look at their Facebook. They're starting to pull back. They're not becoming as efficient. I don't care where you're at or what you're doing. You've got to be in that beast mode 24/7 when you're working. That's just a reality. Maybe I'm a different breed. Maybe some of the guys working for me are a different breed, but we are in that grind, that beast mode every single day, pushing harder. You cannot take your foot off the gas pedal. Yeah, you're going to have those moments where it's like, man, I need a break. Well, do your self-care on the weekend. Do your self-care in the evening. Take care of yourself in those moments where you have that time. But when it's work time, it's go time. When you look at let's say a NASCAR, a race car driver, man, they take their foot off the gas. What happens? They fall behind. Same with sports players. You cannot stop. You cannot quit. These people that are in these higher up positions and these winning positions are there for a reason because they're always pushing themselves. And I see some of the comments from some of you out there and on some of the social media platforms, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And why am I working so hard to make somebody else rich? It's not that. You make it sound like it's an evil thing for a company to make money. That's what the company's there for. The company has to make money for it to survive, for you to have a job. If the company's not making money, it's going to shut its doors. And it's not about making somebody else rich. It's about you going out and performing your job to the best of your ability, to do the best that you can, to get that raise, to get that promotion, to move to that next level. We've got guys working for us that in 3 years have gone from painter to crew lead to superintendent to estimator to project manager, safety coordinator. It just keeps continuing. The difference is they're taking what I'm talking about and they take it to heart and they push themselves harder than anybody else. And I'm going to tell you right now, the men and women that we hire out of our programs, they will work harder, 10 times harder than anybody that walks through my front door. I can run an ad on Craigslist, Indeed, anywhere else out there. And I'm going to tell you right now, the men and women that come out of prison, off the streets, out of rehab, they are the ones that are outperforming anybody else out there. So if you're in a position, you're at a job, and maybe it's some company out there, and you've got somebody walking through the front door, I'm going to tell you, beware, because they're gunning for your job. They're going to outperform you. They're going to outpush you because they are hungry and they have something to prove. And that's what we're giving these men and women the opportunity to do. But at the same time, sometimes it's just human nature. We get lazy. I think it's a natural instinct that we want to take the easy way out sometimes. And we do pull our foot off the gas pedal. I've been guilty of it, and I got to keep myself in check. But I keep people around me to call me out on my BS, to push me, to keep me focused on what I need to do. I am my own biggest motivator. I'm also my own worst enemy. Sometimes I can push myself too hard, but I'm the one that's going to push and push and push and grind. I'm the one that's going to keep everybody around me pushing and grinding as well. And sometimes it's tough as a leader in the company because you always have to be strong. You always have to be the one on point. And you think to yourself, you can't let the people around you see that weakness in you. You can't let them see that you're falling behind or you're struggling and it's difficult. I don't care if it's anxiety. I don't care if it's depression. I don't care what you're going through. You have to be at the top of your game. You find a way to deal with it. You find somebody to talk to. We talk about our social support network. You have to have that in order to produce, in order to perform. If you don't have somebody to talk to about what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, you are going to struggle. And I don't care whether it's your kid, I don't care whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, a wife, a husband, you find somebody that you can connect with, that you can talk to and deal with these situations. I'm very fortunate to have the wife that I have because we work well together. There was a time that, my wife didn't work with me. And someone would say, "Oh yeah, I talked to your wife in the office." No. That's not my wife. I got two girls in the office, and yeah, I have a happy marriage. I'm in love with my wife. That's why I don't work with her. But what I didn't realize over the years is we work very, very well together. Now there's times where, you're going to push each other to the limit and you're going to have issues. But if you're able to communicate, you're able to talk about things. We go to and from work talking about work. When we get home, we shut it down. We are not going to talk about work at home. Now, that's not to say it doesn't happen. The phone rings. I get a call from somebody. Yes, we're going to talk about that. It's going to happen. But the majority of the time, work is based at work and to and from work. That's it. And that's what works for us. But I'm able to talk to her about the problems. I'm able to talk to her about what I'm going through. Now, she gives me her opinion. She gives me her ideas. I don't always agree with them. That's okay. I know she doesn't agree with me all the time. But we find a way to make it work. And I listen to her opinion. I listen to her ideas. It's the same with everybody else working for me. I want every option on the table. I want to discuss it. I want to talk about it. And we're going to see if something works. Doesn't mean we have to use it, but at least listen to every option, everything out there. That's what your support group is for. They're going to help you get through those times. But when you get to the point to where you start getting too relaxed in your position, too relaxed in your job, you are going to cost yourself. You could lose your job. You can lose your position. You're going to lose everything you work so hard for. Why would you let that happen? So keep yourself in check. Keep people around you that are going to call you out. I know that the way I am, I put the people that work for me, I'm going to call them out. I'm going to shoot straight between the eyes. I'm going to let them know if they're doing something wrong. It's not to be mean. It's not to hurt their feelings or the emotions. It's to make them better. It's to make them more productive. It's to make them a better person, a better productive member of society. And I'm telling you, the men and women that work for me that come out of these programs, they can handle it. Trust me, what they're getting here is 10 times better than where they've come from. And they have an opportunity for growth. They have an opportunity to make money. They have an opportunity for something better in a better position, a better environment. And we treat it like a family. We support each other. We grow together. So don't get so comfortable in the position you're in or so comfortable wherever you're at that you start screwing up and you're going to lose it. That's just not going to work. You have to focus on that beast mode, that grind every day. Find that grit, find out what makes you tick and what pushes you. And you know when it's happening. I can tell in myself when I start to get lazy or I start to get comfortable or I'm getting too relaxed or I'm kicking back at the office. I got to call myself out. I got to push myself. You know, Sometimes if I'm sitting in my office and I get overwhelmed and too far up in my head and I'm dealing with too many different situations, I'll just walk out the back door and go stand outside, go talk to the guys in the shop. I'll wander around. I'll talk to different people that work in the office, and that helps me clear my head. And then I'm going back to my office and getting back to the emails, the work, the grind, the daily stuff that has to be dealt with. You can't walk away from your job. You can't just shut down and quit. It's always going to be there. You have to find a way to get through it. There's always going to be issues. There's always going to be problems. That's a given. Everything in life, there's going to be speed bumps. You have to find a way to deal with it. You can't just say, oh, throw my hands up and I quit. It's not going to work. What do you gain by that? Nothing. All you're doing is hurting yourself. And all you're doing is putting yourself backwards into the positions that you were in before. Nobody wants to go backwards. And right now within the company, I'm seeing a few situations that could be pushing us as a company as a whole backwards. And I'm trying to put things in place to push us forward. So I see a problem, for example, the job that we went out there 3 times the other day before 9 o'clock, taking different things out there. I see a problem. I'm shooting off an email to all upper management. I'm saying, here's what's happening. Let's fix it. Let's find a solution to this. Next problem, we're having a situation with some of the machines. The guys are changing oil out there in the field. It should not be happening. We keep a log in the shop. We keep track of everything. They're overfilling these things with oil. Now I'm shooting another email out. Hey guys, here's what we need to do. Let's focus on this. It's not to call anybody out. It's not to point fingers at anybody, but it's just making it known out there that, hey, there's a problem. We're slipping up. We're making mistakes. The biggest thing that I see once I notice in any situation that we're starting to go backwards, the first thing that starts to fail every single time is communication. The communication starts breaking down. People stop talking to each other, stop making those phone calls. Talked to my project manager the other day. How's it going? He goes, I don't know, John. It's about 10:30 and most of these jobs start at 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning. I haven't had a single call from a single superintendent or lead on a single job. That's unacceptable. That tells me that the communication's breaking down. That tells me there's a problem. So now I'm sending out a mass text, accidentally sent it to everybody in the company, not just the people that needed to see it, that, hey, have you checked in with your project manager today? Make sure you're updating them. That has to happen. You have to update the people above you. And that goes with any position anywhere. I don't care if you're a greeter at Walmart. You got to update somebody if there's a problem, something's going on. Hey, I'm standing here greeting people, and all of a sudden you notice the cart corral's empty. Hey, there's no carts for people coming in. They're asking me. Let somebody know. You don't just say, okay, sorry, Mr. Customer, maybe there's one out in the parking lot. No, you're going to let upper management know. You're going to find a solution. You're going to fix a problem. Every time something happens, you have to let management know. Communication is key to every situation. I don't care if it's work. I don't care if it's personal. I don't care where you're at in your life. Communication has to be number one in every situation. And the second it starts failing, that's when it breaks down. It's the same thing in a marriage or with your kids. In a marriage, if all of a sudden the communication is breaking down, I guarantee you the marriage is breaking down. There's a disconnect. There's something going wrong. Something's not happening between the husband and wife. And you can tell it's happening, but for some reason, we don't do anything about it. We just sit back and we let it fester and we get up in our head and we overthink things. You have to get it out in the open. That's one thing. And I tell everybody that comes through a class with me at the vocational program, I'm going to call you out on anything. I don't care if your feelings are hurt. I don't care what happens. It's going to be for the best. And the reason it happens that way is because it's going to make you better. How do you know that something's not working? How do you know if something's not happening if you're not communicating? How do you know that I'm not feeling good today if I don't say anything to you? How do you know if there's a problem between you and your wife or you and your husband if you don't tell each other? You just let it fester. And then it just becomes a situation. Then one person's angry. Now you both are yelling and screaming at each other over stupid crap that you don't even know. Half the time you don't even know what the fight started over with. And it's over something so stupid, so minute that it shouldn't have even been an issue. but it built up from something else. And it's always a communication breakdown. It's the same thing in the workplace. If I have a problem with someone in management, I'm going to go say something. I don't care how bad it hurts their feelings or what they're going through. We're going to sit down and talk about it. It's plain and simple. And I guarantee we're all grown-ups. We can handle it. I mean, we're not kids. We're not going to cry and throw a fit. We're not going to pout and shout and lay on the floor and scream and cry. That's what kids do. That's what my grandson did this weekend when I went to visit him, and he didn't get his way one time. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my grandson. To me, he's perfect, but this is the first time I saw him terrible twos. He's 2 years old, and he threw a fit, and it was all because he didn't get his way. And that's not the way to communicate. The way to communicate is to talk about something, but he doesn't understand that. So how do you teach him? So I sat there with him. And I said, hey, you can sit and yell and scream and cry, or we can talk about this and you can eventually get what you want. And so he calmed down and he realized that. In the end, he got what he wanted instead of throwing a fit and yelling and screaming and dropping on the floor. We act like children, and we need to stop acting like children. We need to act like grown-ups, like adults, and communicate with each other. We need to quit being scared to talk about our issues and our problems with each other. You need to throw it out there and get in front of it and put it in front of each other and discuss it. I don't think, I'm not going to say anything bad about going to get therapy or getting somewhere where you talk to somebody, a professional, about your feelings and emotions. And some people need that. That's a great thing. But for me, I don't think that's what I need. What I need is, I'm going to tell you what's bugging me. If something's bothering me, I'm going to tell you up front what it is, and we're going to deal with it. I don't care how stupid it is, how crazy it is. We're going to discuss this. We're going to push through it. We're going to get it done and over with and move forward. How many times have you seen a situation where you were so upset about something and something bothered you that somebody did, and you're up in your head and you're thinking that it's because of this, and then 3 or 4 days later, you finally talk about it and you find out that it was nothing. And it was so stupid that you got yourself so worked up over it for nothing. There's a great book out there by Mark Manson called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep. And I'll let you guys figure that one out. You can find it on Amazon. Just Google it. It is a great book for people who overthink things and get up in their head. It teaches you how to not overanalyze stuff. It teaches you how to think about and focus on the things that are important, not the little things, not the things that are out there that are, you don't want to blow it up into something bigger and when it shouldn't be. And if you're somebody that gets up in your head, you overthink things, this book would be perfect for you. I bought this book for every one of my management team last year, and we read it. We read a chapter a week. We'd get together on Tuesday in a meeting for an hour, and we would discuss the book. We'd go around. I'd create 2 topics over each chapter, and we would discuss it. We would talk about it, how it reflects in our own lives, how it makes a difference for us. I'm telling you, if you're one of those people, this would be a phenomenal book for you to read. Get it, read it. Let me know what you think about it. I'm really curious to everybody's opinion and what you get out of it, because even as a group of a dozen of us, we could all read the same chapter and get something different out of that chapter, a different perspective. And that's what makes us unique and makes us different. And that goes to tell me that when something happens, we all perceive things differently. We get in a situation and we're going to overanalyze it. We're going to overthink it. And we get up in our head. We don't talk about it. And like I said, 3 or 4 days later, finally, when you talk about whatever that situation is with the person you're dealing with, it's not even close to what you thought it was going to be. It's something completely the opposite. I do the same thing here at work. I'll have a situation and we've got to deal with something in the office, and I'll tell somebody here, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this right now. I'm going to go home. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to sleep on it, and I'm going to come back tomorrow, and then we'll deal with this situation. And my problem is that I think about it 1,000 different ways how it's going to play out. And I'm telling you right now, the next day, whenever I deal with this, it very rarely plays out any one of those 1,000 ways. But the other thing that I look at too is it gave me time to think about it, how I'm going to deal with this situation, what I'm going to do. And I eventually figure it out. But sometimes all that time is wasted. I didn't overthink it. I thought, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to push forward? What am I going to do to deal with this situation? What if this happens? What if that happens? If this person says this, I'm going to say that. And then when it comes out, it never plays out the same way. And I blow it out of proportion sometimes to the point to where I think it's going to end a certain way, or it's not going to, or it's going to end up ugly, whatever the case is. And typically it doesn't end up that way. It's so much easier if we just get in front of these situations, if we just talk about it. It eliminates all the drama, all the problems, everything else. So as I'm going through these situations at work and I've seen a couple of people that are getting a little too relaxed, guess what? I'm calling them out. I'm sitting down. I'm having that conversation. Hey, what's going on? I know you've been on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube all day. We need to talk about this. What's going on? Your duties at work are lacking. The phone calls aren't happening. The follow-ups for the emails aren't happening like they should. What is happening in your personal life? What is going on that we need to take a look and change? Maybe you're not happy here. Maybe we need to change what you're doing at work. Maybe there's a different position that you would be happier in. So I'm going to look at every situation and I'm going to adjust and change to the best way that's going to fit each person. And each person's conversation is going to be a little bit different. It doesn't have to be the same. I've got a couple guys in the office that, they do get a little emotional. They wear their feelings on their sleeves. And I got other guys that, man, I can blast them right between the eyes and, okay, John, I got this. I'm going to change. I'm going to work on this. Everybody's different. You have to learn to read each person and how to deal with them. It's not a one size fits all. We have to take care of what we say, how we say it, and how we address it. I don't want to lose any of my employees. I want to maintain and keep every single one. We hired a new guy recently out of New Freedom, and he's struggling a little bit. And he's been working with one guy. It's not working out. He's like, man, I can't get him to learn. He's slow. He's not grasping onto this. And so it's like, okay, let's move him to somebody else. We're not getting rid of him. We're going to bounce him around till we find the right person to teach him to get him to figure out. If I gave up on every single person that could not figure it out in the beginning, I'd have nobody. There would literally be nobody working for me. That's especially true with the vocational program, because what we teach in there on the hands-on side, the basics of painting, that's just to see if somebody enjoys painting. That's just to see if they like it. Once they get out of there, it's 1,000 times faster. And we let them know that. But we're going to do everything we can to help them. But we're also going to tell them, hey, dude, you're working slow. You're not figuring this out. We got to figure something else. We're going to make something happen. We're going to get you to figure this out, or we're going to find the right position for you. There is a spot for everybody in this company. It's funny. Someone asked me a while back, well, I bet you fire a lot of people, don't you? No, I don't fire anybody. They choose to make a decision or choose to do something to get themselves exited out of the door. They choose to do something wrong or choose to become lazy or not show up, and that's what gets them fired. They made the choice. If it was my choice, I would never fire anybody that ever worked for me. But I don't make their decisions. I don't make their choices. You have to do that. So when it comes to work, when it comes to what you're dealing with every day, don't get so comfortable that you lose your job. Don't get so comfortable that you start playing on your phone all day, not paying attention, not doing what you need to do. Start communicating when you see issues, when you see problems. Start working together. Start helping each other. We're better as a team. We're better as a community, as a family, as a collective. This is not one man for himself. This is an entire team, an entire company working for the same common goal. And that's to make the company money so they can make more money so we can build and hire more people. We are a different type of company. We're a different type of breed. We have a company of men and women that believe in beast mode every single day. And we're going to push, we're going to grind, and we're going to continue to do what we do. We are unstoppable, and you can't stop us. And if you tell us we can't do something, challenge accepted. We're going to keep grinding, we're going to keep pushing, and we're going to make it happen. Because in this house, we don't relax. We keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So guys, once again, I want to thank you for joining me. If you could, like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you got something you want me to talk about sometime, give us a message. Shout out to us. Thanks for joining me. Stay hungry.